Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. My name is Reuben, joined here today with Aaron, and we are back to talk about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, episode 4. I don't have the name of the episode in front of me. Aaron, you know it?
This episode? This episode we just watched? The newest episode? The name of it?
The latest, yep.
Yeah.
They said Friday, but it technically came out Thursday, so.
Yeah, I mean, the episode that we all watched was the one that just came out.
Episode
which name
4.
is 7.
Oh, 6-7. Look at that.
No.
And before we get into episode 4 titled 7, I want to let you guys know that you can follow us on social medias. You can also listen to this wherever you get your podcasts and check out our Patreon page. We actually just uploaded a review of Furin Season 1. Season 2 is airing now, so if you want to hear our thoughts on Furin, we're actually going to do a little preview of that review at the end of this video. Little 5-minute preview. Fun show. If you like fantasy, if you like the show, you might like Furin. Might not like us, but I don't know what I'm selling here, but I'm selling something. Like Larry David trying to sell cars right now.
Big stuff. Big, charging, crazy pistons, nutty pistons.
Was it twin cam?
Yeah, twin cam.
What other colors?
This is a fucking work of art.
Yeah, good episode. Man, I keep saying the same thing every week, but this is probably my favorite thing in the world right now. Just catching up with Dunk and Egg and what they're up to. And I think this episode was the perfect build-up for the next one, where we are going to see the trial play out. But the tone switched, where it is more moody, more gloomy. We have the rain, you have the fog. You don't know if you don't know if Dunk is going to be able to find 7 knights to stand up and fight for him. And I think that moment at the end of the episode when the Game of Thrones theme came on, it made people so nostalgic, obviously, for the feelings they felt watching the original show for the first time. But also a moment, I think, that reminded a lot of people of Viserys in House of the Dragon, when he takes that walk down the throne room to defend Rhaenyra. Very similar actions here by a Targaryen, that being a Targaryen king. Here we have a Targaryen prince, proving that they're all not mad and crazy and that they still have some honor left in them. So just a great episode. And like I said, a really fun setup for what we're going to see in episode 5. But I really enjoyed this.
No, yeah, this show is great. Those last few minutes were incredible. It really was. Like, I don't know, like from the tone of the show, I don't think a lot of people were expecting to have these big epic moments, especially how small the story is in comparison to what we're used to. But it just goes to show that sometimes taking a step back, focusing on a smaller story, I mean, it's been really one setting this whole time, building your characters, investing so much in their lives that create just such these powerful moments. And like you said, that tone shift where obviously the show is a little bit more lighthearted than the rest of Game of Thrones, but it can still have these big dramatic moments that really give you chills. Like you said, when that Game of Thrones theme started playing and Prince Baelor comes out, it's like up there with some of my like favorite moments of House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones. And it's so cool that a 35-minute, I don't want to say comedy, but like, a little goofy, fun, lighthearted show can still bring those emotions to Game of Thrones fans.
Yeah, definitely. It very much does feel like an anime, like a slice of life from episode to episode. And I think the tone shift, or the shift in tone, really works. It still feels like it's the same show. And, it's a moment, like you mentioned, I don't think a lot of people were expecting it to get this serious and the stakes to be so high. The stakes for the first 4 episodes felt like, can Dunk win this tournament so he can buy back his horse? Which is still, pretty high for people who love animals, and Dunk clearly loves those horses. He's confiding in them in this episode, and Raymond's like, man, are you okay? But no, yeah, it becomes, it's reminiscent of what we watched in the original Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, where you have these competing loyalties, where you have Targaryens on opposite sides of the conflict. Obviously not as big as a civil war, but it almost feels like a mini civil war. These tensions, they've been hinting at them, especially when it comes to Baelor and the reactions that he's had to Aegon. and his brother, but more specifically Aegon, especially at the tournament when he kills that horse, and you could see the frustration on Baelor's face. And, he's a man who finds himself trying to rehabilitate the Targaryen name. So you have Aegon, who was offended by the puppet show, but Baelor is trying to get people to move past the Blackfire Rebellion, move past all the animosity and the hatred. So, and I think a small action like this goes a long way, where he is the hand of the king. He's the second most powerful man in all the Seven Kingdoms, and he's willing to stake his life and legacy for a hedge knight that he knows is innocent, and he's willing to fight for Dunk to help improve that to the world.
Yeah, and I haven't noticed it before, but his handpin is fucking sweet.
Honestly, that's really something we haven't talked about, dude. The smaller details when it comes to the armors, the costuming. It's probably the best that A Song of Ice and Fire, The Larger World, has ever looked. Obviously, we had some great detail and armor in the original, but yeah, they've taken it to another level, I feel like.
I feel like sometimes with Game of Thrones, they kind of not overlooked it, because I think a lot of the fits are fire, but a lot of the times it was just like leather-bound armor, you know?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Even when you see Jon in the Battle of the Bastards, like, just know how, like, and I think they did that the same way basketball players are more recognizable than football players, is because the football players always have the helmets on, so you can't see their faces.
Right.
So they're like, oh yeah, well, we can't cover up Kit Harington's face, or no one's going to know who he is. But I feel like it lacked in some of that, because when you read it in the book, some of the designs of the armors are spectacular. And in Game of Thrones, it really was a little bit more, I guess, realistic. And also, like I said, they wanted to make sure you knew where your stars were the whole time, because it doesn't make sense to go into battle with no helmet. But seeing what they're able to do,
or up north with no knit cap.
Yeah. But when we see Aerion's dragon armor, it's like, yeah, that's what I want. That's what I expected, and they deliver on it.
No expense spared when it comes to the armor of the royals, and even some of these smaller lords, like the armor for the Fossoways. Seeing the the design of the apples was it's really neat.
Well, yeah, I mean, no big names in the cast, small setting. They don't have to travel really. You build your sets and you use the same sets because you're staying in the same location. And I think that does free up a lot of money, especially in a show like this where it's not House of the Dragon coming off Game of Thrones, where you could probably justify spending as much as you want. You know, this is a bit of a risk, a 30-minute kind of short story about two characters nobody's ever heard of before. No dragons, no magic. Well, yeah, we did get a little bit of kind of some of the supernatural elements of this world with Darien.
And he's also the one who he fucks over Dunk because his drunken ass was like, oh, this big guy kidnapped Egg. And then he comes to apologize, and Dunk's ready to scrap. He's like, what, are they going to kill me twice? That would be funny, too, if he got drunk and then after the trial ended, he's like, he also assaulted me before this trial even happened.
Yeah, I just want to add a count of assault.
That's a double jeopardy. Yeah, once again, that scene was a great moment where you have the metaphorical prophecy that obviously there are no dragons in this world. I do wonder if some people were watching and thinking, wait a minute, maybe a dragon is going to show up in the next episode, that a dragon lays over him. So especially now that we see that there's going to be multiple Targaryens fighting in this trial, it suggests that one of them could fall on Dunk's big ass body.
Yeah, I was like trying to think of a comp for like Sir Stefan changing sides the last second. Just a rat move.
Yeah, he sold out. But like he said, people have sold their honor for less. It was especially disappointing because he talked so much shit when he first decided to fight for Dunk. So I wouldn't miss this for the world. I fucking hate those guys. And Arion's like, you want a big ass castle? He's like, well, you put it that way. Maybe you're not so bad after all. That horse was kind of asking for it.
Yeah, incest isn't that bad now that I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if my brother, if Raymond was more of a looker, I mean.
Oh, you think I'm going to fight with you colonizers? Castle, you say?
Man, this imperialism ain't half bad. Yeah, that was disappointing. But it was also so funny when Sir Lionel showed up and he's like, oh, that's awesome that Stefan convinced you. And he's like, who the hell is Sir Chevron? It was the It was a little murder boy over there with the axe who asked me to fight. And I don't think it took much convincing because Lionel has definitely taken a liking to Dunk. So I think even something like that, where we've seen them bond in these moments, especially in the first episode, but in episodes 2 and 3 as well, where they've formed this sort of friendship between them. And that was also a great moment, seeing Lionel knight Raymond. So not all the Fossoways are bitch-made. Raymond's a day one.
Yeah, I mean, Aegon was moving like Billy Bean. Right. Put a team together quick.
He's got the headset, got all the phones ringing and shit. It's like Leon Rose.
Yeah, the analytics on Humphrey Harding must have been, he sees something people don't. I mean, he's hurt, he's injured, but Egg knew he could still ride. That's why he's the best GM in the league. It's like trading for Anthony Davis.
Right. Yeah, what does Egg know? Egg knows something that he's going to get fined, dude. He's going to lose some draft picks, but that's all right. As long as you hoist the trophy.
We can't get Stefan Fossoway, but we can make Stefan Fossoway through the aggregate. Let me tell you about Humphrey Beesbury. I mean, they gave this man, 3 hours to put a team together? Like in the middle of night, it's like, yeah, well, you got till the sun comes up, so...
Right, and it's funny because Maekar, when Aerion demands a trial by 7, Maekar looks at him like... Oh, so you're just scared. So you can't fight this guy one-on-one, so you need 6 other people to fight your battle for you. But I think Aerion's, so far, has been a fascinating character. The way he presents himself is very confident and cocky, but we see that there's a lot of fear there. And you hit the nail on the head last episode. You know, Targaryens feeling like they're losing this grip on power, so he feels so disrespected by Tonsil's show. And we see it here too, that he believes he's dragon in human form, but he needs 6 other guys to fight with him. The blood of the dragon, everybody.
Could he have named a champion, or is that just seen as bitch made for Prince?
Oh,
call
yeah,
upon a champion.
That would have been really bitch made. It's also tough, call upon a champion to fight against this guy. Like, nobody's ever seen Dunk fight, but they can assume he's not going to go down easily.
No, I wouldn't take my chances. This is a big-ass boy.
Dude, and all the faces that Maekar makes throughout that, where they're discussing the trial, I'm just waiting for him to break the fourth wall, look directly in the camera. It's been one of the funniest parts of the show so far. Just some of the looks that he has when he when he learns about what the 7 is, a trial by 7 is, and he's kind of racist towards the Andals. It's just the looks of bewilderment and how uncomfortable he seems at times it's such a great little detail of his performance and, some of the comedy in this show.
Well, if it was the Andals.
Yeah, I felt bad too for Egg when he's coming clean in the cell, when Dunk tells him to dry his eyes. At the end of the day, he is still a kid. And, when he goes into the details of some of the abuse that he suffered because of Aerion, and even Darren, obviously it's different, the relationship he has with Darren, but Darren's an irresponsible drunk, and he loses track of Egg, and he didn't want to fight in the tournament. So Egg just wants to simply live out this dream, and he ends up getting Dunk in trouble. So there's obviously some tension there in that first scene between them, but Dunk, being the good-hearted man he is, does forgive him.
Yeah, he was so excited to see Egg too back after he got out of jail. They're just like best friends.
Yeah, just a 16-year-old and an 11-year-old, canonically.
That speech he gives is that was so sweet though. He hasn't never really been an assertive presence, but in that moment when he basically calls out all the lords and knights of the realm, basically saying, what does he say? Like, are there no true knights left in Westeros? I would have fought. Like, damn.
Yeah, dude. When Sir Bracken stood up, and shout out to Eric Nolan, our friend of the channel, actually. For a moment, I knew how this scene was going to play out, but when he stood up, I was like, yo, he's actually about to fight. Like, I know that guy. He's about to fight with Dunk. Then he just rips ass. Got a big laugh out of the crowd. I
like that farts are just funny across different ages, different worlds. It's like a universal language.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm sure in the caves, the Egyptians were making fart jokes.
They used to call King Tut King Toot.
That's good stuff.
Good, clean fun.
But it was cool. He's like he's become Stan Lee of the Game of Thrones universe, because he just pops up in every adaptation. So I think that's fun for him. He's got the perfect look to fit in this world, and he's such a good guy. behind the scenes. So shout out to Eric. Yeah, and I think the actor playing Sir Dunk, he obviously is great casting for this character, but I think he's given an underrated performance. You know, he hasn't been given many opportunities to be this dramatic. I think he absolutely nailed this moment where you're seeing him take all the lessons that he learned from Sir Arlen and really just wear his heart on his sleeve in this moment, standing up for not only the values of being a knight, but standing up for himself, being confident in that he is going to be proven innocent because he is.
Yeah, I mean, their relationship and their chemistry, both actors, has been fantastic, especially Dexter Ansel. I mean, we see a lot of movies, a lot of television shows. Finding great child actors is difficult, and it might not be fair to criticize, but a lot of times, especially when they're such a huge part of the project, it can really bring a whole project down. But he's been so good, especially like that moment in the jail cell. I mean, for such a young actor to give that kind of performance, I think is really special. And when you're watching them together, you never feel like it's acting, you know, it's such a natural chemistry and they play off each other so well. And it's really the driving force behind the show because, like we said, it is a smaller story and very character driven. So, I mean, it's not a stretch to say that the casting of Dunk and Egg is very important in the show following Dunk and Egg, but they did such a great job with the casting that I think it elevates the show to a new level because, I mean, the story is going to be there and a lot of these moments that we know are coming are going to play well for television. But the most important thing is those two. And it has just been fun to be a part of their lives once a week and hang out with them for 35 minutes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And he did look so cute walking in with the official Targaryen sigil and the clothing.
It would have been so funny if he just started acting different.
Right, yeah. Well, that accent he can't hide. That should have been the first giveaway.
Yeah, someone like posted a video of like Tywin talking to Arya when Arya, it's basically like my lord and my lord, and how the lowborns say my lord. And then it was Aegon when he first meets Dunk, calls him my lord. But Dunk's a simple man. He's not picking up on nuances. He just wants to eat salt beef and comb his horses.
Yeah, he's like, you lied about your name. He's like, it's actually short for Aegon. He doesn't even know how many Aegons have been king. Wait until you hear about Aegon the Fourth, Dunk.
That was Dunk's fucking Hank moment, realizing WW is Walter White.
Right. Aegon? Yeah, and like we said, when he's explaining the abuse that he suffered at the hands of Aerion, that was I saw a lot of people who were upset that Raymond laughed. Yo, it's just a prank, little bro. It's just a prank.
That's a crazy fucking thing to do, huh? Especially like the insinuations of, and obviously the history of Targaryens marrying their sisters.
Yeah,
Jesus
dude.
Christ, Aerion. Just relax, dude. You're a prince of the realm.
Yeah, no, these motherfuckers really do need to be taken out. I mean, I like Egg, but yeah, holy shit. And then he killed his cat. It's always so unfortunate when you feel like you fell on the wrong side of the Targaryen tree branch, because clearly Egg admires and looks up to Baelor so much more than he does his own father. And I think Maekor has been an interesting character as well. He's not as unlikable as his two dipshit sons. He seems like a guy who's, just a bit grumpy, kind of, not as interested in, he doesn't seem especially cruel, but just not as interested in ruling the way that Baelor is. And, having the burden of being the second son. So you have to sort of live in the shadow.
Yeah. He's not Aerion or Ares or Viserys, Daenerys is Viserys, where they kind of get off on being cruel, Well, Ares was just fucking batshit crazy. I don't know if he knew he was doing half the time, but
well, he went crazy after Tywin stole his girl.
I mean, wouldn't you?
I've had my girl stolen. I didn't start killing motherfuckers.
You never really loved her then.
Damn.
If you ain't committing genocides after your girl gets stolen, she wasn't it, bro.
Fuck, man. I probably could have started a civil war, but I didn't. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's why I struggle finding love. I'll burn down the world for the next one.
She gets mad because you didn't go crazy. What the fuck?
Oh, I guess you just didn't love me. No, I guess they are innocent. I guess, yeah, there's no reason to kill all these people. Whatever. That's fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, Maekar, it's like, compared to Baylor, you know, he comes off a bit rough and rigid, but I think seeing him, the way he kind of approaches Arian after he kind of demands the trial by 7, and you could tell he's got his hands full with him, and he's not the same level of, I guess, what you would assume a Targaryen on the wrong side to be like. Yeah, I think he's just someone seems bored all the time.
Yeah, he's the parent who's involved, but he's not really there. You know, he's not present.
It's like, oh, this again, you know?
Yeah. He's the type to discipline his children after mom says it's time to punish these kids.
There's 5 minutes left. Do it when I'm done. Get me another beer.
The contrast between the brothers has been interesting to watch, especially how they interact with Dunk, where Maekar, I bet he doesn't even remember this guy's name, and Baelor seems to be really interested in him, similar to Lionel, but for different reasons, because Baelor can't help himself when it comes to respecting somebody who is actually honorable. And when he's asking him, what kind of knight are you, it's almost like 2 questions. Like, can you fight, and do you believe that you're fighting for the right thing? And I think Baelor, being a character who is so confident in his own morality, just makes him so likable for the audience. And it makes that moment so much better, especially the build up to it, because it feels like he's talking to Dunk and they're having a conversation about the way the world is unfair. And it's so unfortunate for somebody like Dunk to find himself in this situation. And Baelor, being a person of authority, has to, stand up for the law. He has to make sure that all these rules are followed. In his heart of hearts, he knows that this poor guy is innocent. And even the way that Dunk was getting frustrated and Baelor is patient with him, because Dunk, he loses his temper a couple of times where he's getting quite loud with somebody who's the hand of the fucking king, Targaryen prince. And like I said, Baelor is willing to be patient with him and hear him out and really just be like almost like a shoulder to lean on in that moment. He's allowing Dunk to be emotional without any consequences. There's no difference in their status in this room. I feel like we've seen it before when you have conversations between royals and people who don't hold those titles, that even if they are good people, they still expect a formality that you need to be on your best behavior. But it really feels like 2 guys trying to figure this situation out, where all the titles are left outside of the room, and inside of this room, they're like friends. It just says so much about Baelor's character, that he's willing to treat everybody equally, that he doesn't have these expectations because he's a prince, that he really is someone who respects, and in this case, I think admires the humanity of Dunk.
I like how in this world, men of honor look upon other men of honor like they're like prime Ashara Dane. Like, that's hotter to them than the most beautiful woman in the world. You see that? Like, they'll be like, yo, this dude's honor, that's special right there. As a fellow man of honor, I'll move heaven and earth to appease you.
That was like Jaime's whole thing with Ned Stark. He's basically in love with him because of he was like Syndrome, just looked up to this guy his entire life. And then when he killed the Mad King, he's like, Ned, that was a good thing to do, right?
Me and you cut from the same cloth, buddy. No, but it's interesting though. Like, you have, the heir to the Iron Throne fighting against his own family. Obviously, and we've seen trial by combats before, not by 7, but straight up 1v1s. But it's such a it's just very interesting to see this all play out. Like, it's basically a mini battle. And you don't have to, I guess. I think we're just so used to trial of combats ending in death. That's not necessarily the case to win a trial by combat. I think it makes, if anyone's confused, on why he would sign up for Dunk and have to kill his brother and his nephew, that's not necessarily the case. You can yield. But I feel like it's still a risk, though. I mean, one stray blade, one wrong shot, and you could very well die, So it is, I guess, a very shocking thing to do, to align yourself with Dunk in this situation. Oh, yeah, certainly. Yeah. And I think Ira Parker made a point that in that moment, he's living up to the name that everybody else has given him and the reputation that he has.
And yeah, he's putting himself in a situation where he could get injured, he could lose his life, or it could result in the death of his brother or his nephew. So yeah, it's a very complicated situation, but it's that morality that inspires him to do it. He knows it's the right thing to do, even if it puts him on the other side of his family. And I think that's why it's so inspiring, because it's not only it's not just fighting against a bad guy. That's easy when it's black and white. But this is a complicated situation that Dunk has found himself in.
I just want to see Sir Stefan get fucking danced on. They're talking this boy up like he's prime Barristan.
Yeah, that's going to be fun too going into it, because we have the people that we like, we have the people that we don't like. We want some revenge after what Sir Stefan did. We obviously have seen Lionel Baratheon be the most fun character in this show so far, so I imagine he's going to have some hype moments.
It's basically the Warriors. They're already good. Like, they really had to call him, beg him to come join his team. It's ruining Trial by Sevens.
Yeah, but it should be fun. I'm really looking forward to that, dude. I think what's so impressive about this episode is we don't get that battle yet, but you're not disappointed by it. If anything, it's just built your anticipation because of that moment with Baelor, and because of the way that the board has been set and the stakes being as high as they are. And yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see it play out, and then whatever happens, the aftermath as well. And a great scene too with Steely Pate.
I was just about to... You just stole my thunder.
Oh, no, just you can lead into it.
No, I just wanted to give our boy Steely Pete some flowers. Building him that new shield, only charged him a copper. And who's there on the battlefield? On his back, on his team? Steely Pete. Why give him a fucking sword? Knight him. That guy looks like he could do some damage. And you know his armor's going to be tough.
Yeah, and they've been teasing that the flirtations between Dunk and Tonsil.
Dunk and Steely Pete.
Yeah, them too.
You're focusing on the wrong stuff, man. I see the way they look at each other.
Well, yeah, now that she's left town, I guess that just leaves Dunk and Steely.
That's the show within the show. Steely Pete orchestrating all this to get Tonsil out of there.
Should we make a separate video about that?
Get some fan art.
I'm sure that already exists.
It's revealed next episode. Steely painted the shield.
Yeah, and I think, the shield, the way Tonsil painted it does mean so much, where she's still able to incorporate some of the details that Dunk wanted, but it is sun setting. So it's the gloominess of this episode, and also the reality of her situation, where she is assaulted, and for her own safety, she has to flee. We might not know what would have happened between her and Dunk, how that relationship would have continued, but that's what it's like for the small folk. Sometimes you can't follow your heart, you can't follow your own happiness, you need to be more focused on your own safety. And at first, it really puts a damper on Dunk's mood. I mean, he's already not having the best of days, but seeing the design changes, and then Steely informing him that, actually, this is real oak, and these are the leaves of summer. So there is still some hope there. And it ends up being a great scene between those two characters.
Yeah, and it just speaks to Dunk, like, only being there for a short time, being a relatively unknown, to having a Baratheon take your side against the crown.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Those Baratheons, man, they love fighting against the fucking crown. And maybe the best knighting scene that we've had. I think Jaime knighting Brienne is incredibly iconic, but I think the aftermath was kind of disappointing, so people don't remember that one as fondly as when it first happened. But I thought the way that this was shot, it was very cinematic, pulling out the sword in slow motion, getting that overhead shot, and hearing the oath being recited. And Lionel Baratheon is, he's been quite a funny character up until this moment. But seeing him act more serious and taking this situation as seriously, seeing him take this situation seriously was that he can have fun when it's time to dance and party, but when duty calls, he's going to be there in his armor, looking very knightly, and yeah, he's awesome.
0% chance Dunk knew the words. He got saved by the horn there. He's going to start making shit up.
He's like, yeah, protect the innocent.
See something, say something. Use your blinker when merging. But it's cool because, like, Raymond obviously isn't probably not skilled enough to be a knight yet, but I think the fact that he's just willing to step up in that moment is very knightly of him. If Paul McCartney could be a knight, I think Raymond Fossoway could be a knight.
Right, yeah, it's even like Sir Arlen. Sir Arlen wasn't the strongest knight. He didn't have this reputation for being this great fighter, but what he instills in Dunk goes such a long way, and Dunk is able to make this relationship with somebody like Raymond. And yeah, you can argue that it's the most knightly thing any character has done so far in the show, other than Dunk saving Tonsil. But, you know, coming into this fight, knowing that you don't really match these guys with skill. I mean, hey, he might be nice, who knows? But obviously,
he's just
doesn't.
Elite.
Right? It's just Austin Reeves. Put your worst defender on him and he just fucking cooks. Can he shoot? Yeah, he could fucking shoot. No, yeah, it's a great moment of bravery. And I think those small moments in this show have really hit hard. And, you know, that's the benefit of really formulating these characters in a simple but effective way. So those moments go a long way.
The Austin Reeves of Westeros. That's tough. I wish we got more of like, I don't mind. The shorter episodes are frustrating, but like if this one was 20 minutes longer and it was just putting together a team sequence, that would have been kind of sweet.
Like a montage with rock music where he goes up to each individual.
They're walking down the train tracks and slowly, like one by one, they all join the crew and while they're walking towards the castle. One guy's reluctant. Like Robin Riesling's a hard sell. He's like, I gave that life up a long time ago.
Oh yeah, that was cool, right? He's fighting with Dunk. Yeah, he had like one line of dialogue and it was really creepy.
I swore to my family I wouldn't fight in a trial by 7 again. I'm sorry. At the last second he comes in, upstages Baelor. No one cares about him anymore.
Yeah, that would be funny if after the Baelor thing, Stefan just was like, you know what? I'm going to fight for Dunk. Let's make this an 8-on-6. Just keep trading off aura moments, aura and hype moments.
Yeah, Stefan goes back. And Raymond's like, well, I don't want to fight with him. I'm gonna join the other side now. Start making deals.
It's just musical chairs. Dunk and Aryan are on the same team at the end. What the hell? That was just it was so funny, dude, when Lionel Baratheon showed up and he's like, oh no, Egg recruited me, and then just shows Egg with the axe. That man was ready for blood, bro. He's so excited about the idea of somebody killing Aryan in this trial. He's not worried about the fact that the people he likes could also be killed, but the person he really despises might die.
It is so funny too how Egg has no idea what's in Dunk's bag. Like he could just be terrible, and he's just putting them in these situations where he's gonna die. So basically relying that Dunk can handle it.
No, he sees like 7 foot, 280 pounds. Oh, that's my starting center. Meanwhile, he's Kendrick Perkins. Just out there setting screens for Baelor.
Yeah, Aegon loves drafting guys with a good combine with no film.
Oh yeah, dude. He's all about the fucking arm strength. No, I think we have to give him credit. He's young. He's like, Theo Epstein in Boston. Young, unproven, but we'll see. There you go. All of our baseball. That's a reference. Yeah. Anybody who understood the Theo Epstein reference, just comment down below. But make sure you comment his full name. Oh, I got the Epstein reference. Real funny. These guys really know their Epstein. Whoa, be cool.
No, yeah, that's a great point. I think Aegon and Epstein are very similar. Whoa. No.
Yeah, good episode. I mean, kind of keep saying that for every episode so far, but the show's really turning out to be something special. Not as big, probably not going to do the same ratings as the original series in House of the Dragon, but in terms of an adaptation of a story taking place in this world, it's too early to say that it's the best adaptation so far, just in terms of, the accuracy and honoring the story that George told, but it's shaping up to be that way, so I can't wait for these next 2 episodes.
For sure. I think this is an episode that could be obviously, like, not to the extent of Game of Thrones, but I'm trying to think of, like, what episode really spread it towards the masses. And I think this is one that is getting praised a shit ton online. It has a 9.7 on IMDb so far. So like people who are soured on Game of Thrones who might not even watch House of the Dragon or watched it, but are kind of like, all right, well, it's something, but it doesn't elicit the same emotions that I had watching Game of Thrones. People who really enjoyed the series who were left a little disappointed hearing that Night of the Seven Kingdoms just dropped a fucking banger episode might inspire more people who have been hesitant to jump back into it to be like, all right, let me give this a shot, and ultimately propel the series to like the next level.
Right. And I think what's so fun about the reception for this episode being one of the highest rated of all the shows is that normally it's the Red Wedding or Battle episode that gets those high 9s. But this is an episode, once again, 30 minutes, nobody dies, there's no battle, but it's
not even
about
the
the
battle.
character moments. Yeah, right. And I think it just goes to show what they've been able to do with these characters, where they are so well fleshed out and likable for the audience. And a moment like this, where Baelor simply stands up for our main character, has people calling it one of the best episodes of Game of Thrones that they've ever watched when it comes to the franchise at large. So that's really cool. And I think that's something that maybe people who haven't been watching this show will hear that and think, man, what could be happening on this show if an episode like that is getting such high ratings, where I'm not seeing any clips of battles or any major deaths or, these moments that sometimes draw people in. And it's it's a testament to George's writing. He does such a great job of combining real history with the stories he grew up on, with those comic books. He makes it to where it feels like a bit of a shonen, where it's one of those moments in a shonen where you don't get the battle yet, but it's the hype leading up to it, and you just can't wait to get to that next episode that's probably going to have a flashback, and then the next episode will be the battle, and then that episode's also a flashback.
Some of my favorite episodes of Game of Thrones weren't action-based. Look back to even like Tyrion's trial.
Right.
That ending
right.
on him demanding the trial by combat is one of the best endings to any episode of the whole show. Another episode where there's no battle, but it's just a moment where a character that we love standing up for themselves, giving a big FU to authority, a character we hate.
Right.
And it's kind of like the same thing here, where it's a triumph, not on the battlefield, but just in like self-honor and perseverance. And I like that.
Yeah, well said. And I think that will do it for this review. Good points to end it. Another good episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And we'll be back next week for episode 5. Should be an all-timer, man. Especially when you look at some of the moments from the trailer. That's going to be so fun to see it play out.
Speaking of which, I know a lot of people listen to this, if you have a mortgage payment or a rent payment coming up, put it on the Seahawks. Free money.
The way I like thinking about this show, I was explaining it to my friend yesterday, is what if you just got dropped in Lord of the Rings as they finished the journey, and now you're following like Legolas for the rest of his time.
Dude, it's a bit of like, what do you do in retirement? Like, what do these characters do once the fun is over? How does life continue after the story ends? And Fioren's character too, when you're talking about Himmel and the impact that he had on these characters' lives and the world at large, he casts such a large shadow and presence over the entire show. That's, Fioren's character is very tragic, but I think one of the elements that makes her especially tragic is she had every person's ideal partner, ideal knight. This guy who's kind, he's thoughtful, he's wise beyond his years, he's strong, he's powerful, he's hot, and she couldn't even appreciate the perfect man. That's how detached she is from human life, from emotions. That first scene really sets the stage for what this journey is going to be, where she's overwhelmed by emotions that she still doesn't quite understand. But she gets it enough that Himmel's presence, Himmel's life, Himmel's love for her was supposed to mean something. So it's taking this journey to try and find that emotion, to find that feeling of happiness. that he was trying to give to her. And that's why it's, like I said, it perfectly starts the journey after the journey, but it gives you, this look into what Firen is dealing with on an emotional level. And even though she is, a bit stunted psychologically and emotionally at this point, you instantly feel for her. You instantly feel sympathetic. And it's easy to make a character like that unlikable because they're so detached. It's the absent-minded genius. So I'm too good for any of this. In many respects, it's not arrogance with Firen. It's just reality. It's just what her life is, having this, essentially this immortality.
Yeah, it's so good. I think that, for example, like Himmel, yeah, he is one of the best characters in anime, I think, because he's somebody who we haven't seen much, but he teaches you so much. And every time he's on screen, he's impactful and he teaches you a lesson. I feel like this is a show you would show to like children to like teach them lessons about just life. This the person I was before I watched Freeburn is not the person I am now. Type
No,
thing.
that's a good point because it's like a show for everybody. Anybody can learn the lessons of this show. And to your point about how it's, something that you can show children, there's a great line by the priest character, Hyder. Yeah. When he's, Firen's complimenting him on maturing, on being this adult figure in Fern's life. And he retorts that he hasn't matured. He's just simply playing the role. That somebody has to be the adult in this dynamic. That I'm just trying to prepare Fern for what she's going to experience in life. But deep down, I'm still a child. So I think it's, it's learning about, for children, for adults, for anybody, the impact of memory and passing time and the roles that we have to play and the impact that we have on each other's lives. That it's something that doesn't stop, whether you're a child, whether you're coming of age, or whether you're an older man. Those roles, those relationships are constantly in motion, constantly being cultivated. And even though deep down you could be a kid inside, sometimes you have to be the adult. And I think they play with that too, with, Firen and Fern's relationship, where it starts off as very much Firen showing her the ropes. But I feel like by the middle of the journey, as Fern is aging, she almost becomes the adult of the two, where she's learning the patterns of Firen's personality, of her tics, the things that she likes and doesn't like, the weaknesses and strengths of that character. Like when she exposes her great weakness to all of the different characters during the tournament. And it's very similar to, your parents raise you when you're younger. And as parents get older, they start to struggle with the way that the world is changing. So nobody knows them better than you do. So you almost take on that quasi sort of child, but also a parental role. So I found that fascinating too in their relationship. But, just I've been rambling a bit here, but going back to your point that it really can be a great show for kids to learn these lessons in a way that, is mature, but still not, explicit or anything like that.
Yeah, to what you were saying, there's a part in mid-season where you really do see the change, where at some point Fern's sick and her shark Freerin are chilling, and Freerin is comforting Fern.
Yeah.
And Fern is like, yo, what are you doing? You're treating me like I'm a baby. Freerin's like, oh shit, like you're grown now. You're at the same point as me. I'm gonna switch how I'm treating you, and we're gonna be on equals at that point. And a couple episodes, or maybe even that episode, you get a moment where, a couple episodes later, when they do pass the selection or the exam that they're going for to become first class mages, Fern is talking to what's the old elf, who I'm talking about, the one who's the head of the Ministry of Magic type thing, whatever her name is. Fern's talking to her and she's like, oh, why is this your favorite spell? And she said, or why do you do this? Why do you even do this? And she says, because Freerun likes doing it and I like to see her be happy, Right. And it's so crazy because you start the show off and Fern is a literal baby, like a child. And from there to now, like her journey has been so grand. She has changed so much and has matured. You feel like you really went through this with her in the span of 20 episodes or whatever it may be.